Welcome everyone to Crypto Channel Direct. Now it's been a really eventful week in crypto with the price of Bitcoin slipping below 50% of its all-time high. And today we'll see what Mark Cuban has to say about this market collapse, as well as understand what is happening with UDT's stablecoin dollar peg, and have NFTs gone bust after a big boom? We'll let you know. I'll also be speaking with Serg Metelin of Swirlds Labs and Terra to understand how developers and builders in crypto carry on through major market moves. I'm Claire Ross Brown and welcome to CCD, where I'll be bringing you the news you need to know, powered by Concordia. Mark Cuban knows a thing or two about riding out the storm of a troubled market, having seen what's happened to the internet in the early 2000s. The billionaire investor is now sharing his experience for the crypto space. Cuban took to Twitter amid a massive crypto market collapse to calm some fears. The owner of the Dallas Mavericks opened by saying, "Crypto is going through the lull that the internet went through." It's not only Cuban making these comparisons, as entrepreneur Gary Vaynerchuk has also shared his thoughts on the similarities. The dot-com bubble burst in 2000 after several internet-centric companies received high levels of investment speculation, only to eventually bottom out. Cuban says he has seen the same early surge and high levels of investment speculation with things like dApps, NFTs, DeFi, P2E, and went on to explain by saying, "We saw the imitation phase as chains subsidized the movement of those apps to their chains a la bandwidth and storage subsidies by startups in the 2000s. For Cuban, the next big driver in the space will be the use of smart contracts to improve business productivity and profitability. He said, when business can use smart contracts to gain a competitive advantage, they will. The chains that realize this will survive. The chains that copy what everyone else has will fail. We don't need NFTs or DeFi on every chain. We don't need bridges to move NFTs between chains. We need smart contract apps replacing SaaS apps." Cuban has been banging this drum for quite a while now, and this market collapse only compounds his sentiment. In a now deleted tweet last January, he said, "Watching the cryptos trade, it's exactly like the internet stock bubble. Exactly. I think Bitcoin, ETH, a few others will be analogous to those that were built during the dot-com era, survived the bubble bursting and thrived, like Amazon, eBay, and Priceline. Many won't." Do you think that Mark Cuban is right? Are we repeating history with a technology that could have the same impact as the internet? Let us know what you think below. We know big market collapses can cause a bit of chaos, but over at Terra, things are looking a bit bleak as its stablecoin UST has lost its dollar peg for the second time in 3 days, falling to as low as 65 cents. Now, this also led to the price of Luna, its sister token, dropping over 44%. To explain why this depegging happens, we can look into the mechanics at Terra. UST is a so-called algorithmic stablecoin and works with Luna to maintain a price of $1 using a set of on-chain mint and burn mechanics. In theory, these mechanics work to ensure traders can always swap $1 worth of UST for $1 worth of Luna, which has a floating price and is meant to serve as a kind of shock absorber for UST's price. But the price fall of Luna puts its market cap below that of UST's. That potentially throws the foundation of UST's entire stabilizing mechanism into jeopardy, and it means a Terra bank run could lead to some users no longer being able to redeem their $1 of UST for $1 of Luna. All of this is, of course, causing chaos at Terra, with the Luna Foundation Guard, the foundation in charge, saying that $1.5 billion of its massive Bitcoin reserves would be loaned out to professional market makers to proactively defend UST's dollar peg. However, things are still in jeopardy, and it has led to Binance temporarily suspending the withdrawals for Luna and UST. It's a tough place to be in for co-founder and CEO of Terraform Labs, Do Kwon, especially after all the Bitcoin buying he did to bolster UST to be the third biggest stablecoin on the market. However, he has received some support from the likes of Polygon co-founder Sandeep Nailwal. Nailwal said, "I have not followed the Luna UST ecosystem or community discourse much, but as a founder-to-founder level, I can feel for Do Kwon. He's at the epicenter of this industry-wide event, handing so much pressure and responsibility at such a young age. Good luck to him and Luna community." Are you worried about things like this in the crypto space? And is this a sign that it is maybe not ready for the mainstream? Let us know what you think below. All this talk of market collapses and stablecoin woes makes for grim reading, but with a little deep dive with CCD, we can understand things a bit clearer. Now, despite UST not being a very stable stablecoin, stablecoin dominance continues to grow in the crypto market. All indexes continue to move in tandem with Bitcoin as correlations remain elevated in the crypto market. Bitcoin and mid-caps have outperformed small caps and large caps during the poor start to the month. The underperformance of large caps relative to Bitcoin is caused by the chaos related to Luna's massive crash lately. However, BUSD has entered the top 10 coins by market cap. Now stablecoins represent 4 out of the 10 largest cryptocurrencies measured by market cap, illustrating the state of the market with crypto owners actively seeking refuge in stablecoins. NFTs swept through the crypto world and into the mainstream with incredible force these past few months. But is that boom now a bust? Popular series of NFTs, CryptoPunks, have not been seeing good resale, and the average daily transaction volume on OpenSea is down more than 55% from the first 3 months of the year. We even spoke about how the rush to acquire the latest NFT project from the creators of Bored Ape, the other Ds, caused Ethereum to be overwhelmed. Now the floor price for these are below the minting price. To further highlight the fall in NFTs at the moment, CryptoPunk number 273 was bought 6 months ago for over $1 million, but it sold recently for nearly a tenth of that, around $140,000. Another example of the hype bubble bursting is the resale of an NFT of the first tweet ever sent by Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey. After purchasing it for nearly $3 million, it has been put back on OpenSea, but the highest bid currently is not even $25,000. More so, the number of active wallets has allegedly plummeted by 88%. So are we really at the end of NFTs, or is this another Mark Cuban explained lull? Well, Gary Vaynerchuk thinks these tokens will have their moment. He said, "I view NFTs exactly the way I viewed the internet in 1999. Internet stocks and their valuations were through the roof prematurely, and a lot of things collapsed. Meanwhile, eBay, Google, and Amazon were all there." Despite this lull, there are still reports predicting a rosy outcome. Research firm Markets and Markets says the NFT market is well positioned to grow 35% into a $13.6 billion industry by 2027. Where do you stand on NFTs? Have you bought any? Will you keep buying, or are they all just a waste of time? Let us know what you think. Now let's have a talk with Serg Metelin, the Executive Director of Developer Advocacy at Swirlds Labs, about how developers and the builders of the blockchain and Web3 space handle market crashes. Welcome, Serg. It's really great to have you on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Claire.
I've been very curious about this interview, Serg, because it's lovely to get different perspectives on the crypto markets. And, you know, right now the news is all about Bitcoin and other crypto prices collapsing. But given your experience with developer advocacy, is this any concern for the people building blockchain and Web3?
Yes, Claire, it is a hot topic of the day, and everyone is discussing the latest price collapse. And, you know, reading through Twitter, it's easy to lose your cool and fall under the influence of fear and uncertainty. And the headline prices can cause panic, but for us, for developers, it's all about building great tech. We at Terra and at Swirlds Labs strongly believe that, of course, while the token prices are an essential factor in the ecosystem dynamics, the real potential of technology is not only locked in the price speculation, but in the real use cases that the DLT technologies offer. So we see that developers in the DLT ecosystem are dedicated to the mission of delivering value in the form of decentralized applications independently from the token price. If anything, it's really great time to start building. It's much cheaper to buy tokens and to pay for transactions. So it's a good time to get in. I've been in the crypto space since 2016, and this is not the first time we experienced the collapse. In 2017, it was 84% of the Bitcoin lost value. In 2020, 50%, 2021, 53%. So this is kind of a cyclic event, and I and many of my fellow developers, we build a bit of blindness to coin market cap tables in these times and focus more on the impact of our code rather than the price speculation.
Great, and we saw, Sergi, we saw in the bear market of 2018 that many projects that are flourishing today put their heads down And Bill, do you see history maybe repeating itself?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a big fan of Stoic philosophy, and there's a great book by Ryan Holiday called Obstacle is the Way. In every obstacle, there is an opportunity, and the bear markets and financial crisis, which many people are talking about right now, may be coming, are just new opportunities to build something great. The human nature is such as that when we are too comfortable, when we then become lazy and complacent, and if something that isn't within our control, let's just embrace the calling of the challenge and put our heads down and build solutions to real people's problems. History knows some great examples of something unique coming out of it, and we know that many companies and inventions were made during recessions. Airbnb, Uber, Apple, even the light bulb and the printing press, they were all created during the challenging times. We also need to remember that the global financial crisis led to the invention of Bitcoin protocols. So, we've seen this before. And if we are talking about the world of decentralized applications, many of the developers who are participating in the ecosystem are just naturally risk takers. How many jokes we all heard about how the blockchains and tokens aren't real, and yet we persisted. And I think that resilience and hunger for innovation are common traits of the DLT space developers. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how projects will react to the shifting sense of the world and of the finance world. And again, if anything, right now we see an influx of developers coming to Hedera from the EVM ecosystem, for example, because earlier this year we released an updated version of the Hedera Smart Contract Service that allows Solidity
Mm-hmm.
developers to address many of the problems such as costs and scalability normally associated with the EVM networks without resorting to layer 2 solutions. When the pockets are tight, it's essential to think about more cost effective solutions. So many developers are coming to Hedera to build their apps, as Hedera offers that Solidity compatibility with much, much lower costs.
Great. And Sergi, you moved actually from Hedera to Swirlds Labs. I'm just wondering, why the change and what does this mean in the grand scheme of things at Hedera?
Yeah, for sure. Earlier this month, most of the Hedera employees, including our CEO and CTO, and including me, we all moved to a new company called Swirlds Labs. We are all very excited about the move because the fact that we can make Hedera ecosystem more and more modular is a sign of it becoming more and more mature as well. One of the main reasons for the move lies in the continuous pursuit of that decentralization of the Hedera network. And just to kind of explain, the way Hedera operates is that we have this fantastic group of organizations that govern and operate Hedera. They're called Governing Council. The Governing Council, which includes some of the world's largest and coolest organizations, including Google, LG, ServiceNow, IBM, and others, they stepped on this journey of exploring public DLT technology with us back in 2018. And new members, they join regularly. And we've taken incremental exposure approach to let them dip their toes in the DLT world by increasing the stack's complexity. First, by introducing that immutable public data, then creating token services, and earlier this year, again, our upgraded smart contract service to add that business logic to the tokenized assets. It was a new world for them back then in 2018, but the governing council has matured over the years and doesn't need as much help in operating and governing the network anymore. So for us employees at Hedera, that meant that bootstrapping phase came to an end, and now the council decided to buy the IP to the Hashgraph consensus algorithm and open source it. And now anyone can take Hashgraph, which was previously not open sourced, and build it into their applications. It also makes it much easier to roll out your own Hashgraph network, and you can do that in the future and integrate with Hedera or another Hashgraph-based project.
Right. And Sergi, is there anything that you can tell us about what Hedera is actually building at the moment in terms of new developments or any news that you can share with us on the horizon?
Yeah, sure. And as a developer advocate, I work with the governing council members, with the startups and projects in the ecosystem. And I don't want to give false promises about all the cool things coming to Hedera, as many of them are partner driven. But the area that I can talk about and where we see active growth is ESG and sustainability related financial assets. Sustainability is one of the Hedera's core values, and we are very proud to be one of the most energy efficient networks. Last year, we decided to take it even further and become a carbon negative network, We went through a process of buying carbon offsets, and it really opened our eyes on how the ESG markets are riddled with challenges. Lack of standardization, challenges of double counting, and just overall lack of transparency. We then spoke to our governing council members and realized that they are experiencing really the same challenges, just on a much, much larger scale. So we decided to explore how DLT technology can address some of these issues. And we worked with the organization called IWA in the Work Alliance. They had a work stream led by Microsoft to build a set of new standards for sustainability related digital assets of really of a new generation, with very granular transparency down to an individual unit of accounting. Like, for example, if we were talking carbon credits to a metric ton of CO2, with really unprecedented security levels and many other unique features. Together with the HBAR Foundation, which is focused on expanding the Hedera ecosystem, and with the help of some of the amazing partners in Hedera space, we built an open source platform called The Guardian. It enables organizations to create new generation of sustainability related digital assets by creating DLT-backed digital sustainability policies. And we are taking it even further and investing in research into very groundbreaking things like automated market makers for uniquely traded assets, which has the potential to create new price discovery mechanisms and enable brand new innovative financial markets. The HBAR Foundation also launches a $100 million sustainable impact fund, supporting projects building on Hedera. And we welcome everyone to participate in solving some of the coolest, difficult, and most important sustainability challenges.
Thank you so much, Sergi. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you, Claire, and thanks to the whole CCD team for having me.
Thanks. We hope to have you another time soon.
Bye,
Sergi.
Hopefully.
Thanks for joining us today on Crypto Channel Direct, powered by Concordium. Now, I know I say it a lot, but we really do love to get all your comments and thoughts. So do like and subscribe by hitting the button below, and I'll be back next week with the news that you need to know. Until then, I'm Claire Ross Brown. See you next time.